The CDC guidelines are the things you should do to prevent yourself and others from getting COVID-19. These guidelines were put in place to stop the coronavirus from spreading rapidly throughout the United States. But why should I follow these guidelines? I'm young, I'm healthy, so nothing's going to happen to me. The CDC even said so. But wait, I could bring this home to my grandmother and kill her. I could also infect someone that works at the grocery store, that visits an old age home, that infects and kills dozens of older citizens. The coronavirus is not something to be taken lightly. We all need to follow these guidelines to stay healthy and ensure the protection of ourselves and others. We need to do our part in protecting as many people as we can from this pandemic. Me and my family have been doing everything we can to follow the CDC guidelines to avoid getting the coronavirus. We're not unnecessarily leaving the house, and we're getting our groceries delivered. We're not even leaving our house to see my grandmother, who lives 15 minutes away from our house, in case one of us unknowingly has the coronavirus. Today, I'll be explaining what we can do to prevent getting and transferring the coronavirus, and why it's important to follow the CDC guidelines. These are the 7 main CDC guidelines. Clean your hands often. Avoid close contact with others by staying at least 6 feet away from each other. Cover your mouth and nose with a cloth face cover when around others. Cover your coughs and sneezes. Clean and disinfect everything that might be contaminated. Stay at home whenever possible. Avoid gathering together more than 10 people. Some of these guidelines may not seem relevant in preventing the spread of the virus, but here is an example of why they are all important. I could touch a handrail while infected, and someone else touches that same handrail and also gets infected. This would cause even more people to become infected for not following the CDC guidelines. Now that you know what the guidelines are and you've heard some examples of what could happen if you don't follow them, let's look at what organizations are doing to stop the spread of the virus. The government is trying to help others in times of this crisis. They have given small funds to organizations so that they can temporarily shut down and still have money to support their businesses. According to the Department of Labor, the CARES Act has provided this financial support in order to keep the economy stable while we are on lockdown. This information is important because it is the government's way of keeping everyone in their houses to help prevent the spread of the coronavirus. These actions taken by the government are keeping our death rate lower than originally projected by the CDC. According to the CDC, on January 14th, 2020, there were 4 cases of the coronavirus reported that day. By March 1st, 30 U.S. citizens were reported to have the virus. On April 14th, the number of cases reached over 600,000 worldwide. This is a big jump in the time span of just a month and a half. On April 26th, there were 14,500 new cases reported in the U.S. on that day alone. The original CDC prediction of deaths in the United States without using the CDC guidelines was that 2.2 million U.S. citizens would die. By following these guidelines, however, the estimated number of deaths are now roughly 60,000. I believe that if we continue to follow these guidelines, the total number of deaths could remain as low as 30,000. It was announced earlier today, April 15th, 2020, that 29 states had relatively few cases of the coronavirus and would reopen soon, some of them maybe as early as tomorrow. Currently, the states have fewer than 1,000 cases of the coronavirus. These states are Montana, North Dakota, Wyoming, Nebraska, Hawaii, Alaska, West Virginia, Vermont, and Maine. Almost a fifth of the states have had relatively few cases of the coronavirus, and it's all thanks to Americans following the CDC guidelines. Unfortunately, everyone in Florida still needs to be careful not to become infected. According to FloridaHealthCovid19.gov, the number of people that have the coronavirus in the state of Florida was roughly 19,000 people as of April 11th, 2020. This is about 1,000 more cases than just the day before. This is a very contagious virus and it is not to be taken lightly. Although these numbers may seem small compared to the number of people in the United States, when it is someone you know and care about, one death is one too many. These are some things to think about when you decide to leave your house and risk innocent lives because you're bored. It shouldn't be much longer before the coronavirus becomes a thing of the past and everything can go back to normal. In conclusion, we should all do what we can to prevent the spread of the coronavirus and use these guidelines given to us to stay healthy and stop the coronavirus in its tracks. Following the CDC guidelines, staying home and away from others, even when it comes to work, will keep the number of deaths in this country and the whole world as low as possible. Following the CDC guidelines have saved thousands, maybe even millions of lives. Why wouldn't we follow these guidelines?